All right, welcome to the stream, everyone. Long time no see. It's been such a long time, my camera's not working. The hell? There we go. Huh. That's weird. Hold on a second. Maybe now? You know what I think it was? I think it was dust. It was literally like several specks of dust on my webcam. It's just been that freaking long since I did a stream. Oh my god. We're on a bit of a holiday right now. Over here in Japan land. Not that I'm necessarily on holiday. Well, actually, I mean, the crux of it is that I'm specifically not on holiday in any way, shape, or form. But at least I have the power to choose when to not stream if I want. So, and hanging out with some friends and stuff a little bit more than expected. Kind of last minute stuff going on. Plus being a little lazy too, and plus working on behind the scenes on a potential new build. I need you guys' help, actually. I'm gonna do something. I'm probably gonna do something this league I haven't done in 10 leagues or something. I'm gonna actually roll a new character. A character that's more expensive than this, I think. And I'm not sure if I should try to sell this character outright. If that whole thing still works, if that's a good bet. Could do it. Because there's like not a single item that this character is wearing that would translate over to the other, or a different build that I want to do. That's freaking crazy. Not a single item. Wait, hold on. No, not a single item. I could keep one tincture, I guess. Yeah. Could keep one tincture. So, I think I'm just gonna make money the way that I know how. Currency. I mean, not money, currency. What do you guys think I'm talking about? Actually, I forgot about all of these. Still gotta liquidate this. Oh my god. I wonder if people still do the 4-to-1 C for this. Oh, sorry. I'll rechange the YouTube doesn't actually have the commands. I mean to pull that out of the copy pasta. Forgot to this time. But I already fixed it. That's what we have the description. So if you're on YouTube, you can check any of those links or a variety of links on the description of the video.
Ahoy there.
Hopefully that'll work for you. Well, I figured we might as well just do this and see where I'm at on my dump tabs. Yep. Finally figured out why quality tinctures are worth so much, even though nobody's playing Warden. Because those gosh darn melee players still gotta use their tinctures.
I'll put the word out.
Taking up my Warden space over here. You know what I'm talking about, those like 30%ers. 30% quality. A lot of nightmares. What are these worth nowadays? 50C? $40-something C? Excuse me?
Business.
They've gone up?
Hello.
How strange.
At that price?
Wait, didn't like Chaos Orbs start going up too? Okay, it's kind of back where it was. Got a few stacked decks, huh?
Hail.
Though this thing, I seriously doubt this thing's still going. Wait, really? I did not expect this to still be going. I'm not really sure what to be sending here. I don't know.
They're on their way.
Oh. Damn, what loot filter is this? Nothing? Wait, this is actually the... Oh my god, this was a lesser loot filter even. Oh, wow. When you're about to blame the tight loot filter and realize you don't even have that one on. Scarab of Wisps. I'm gonna go on a limb and guess that everything is more expensive now than it was several days ago. What strat am I gonna play? I think I'm just gonna boss rush Abomination. Talking about like 40 div an hour or whatever it is.
You've left something valuable in the device.
I assume it is. Something like that. Oh, I left the good gem. Oof. Flammability. Flammability. Flaming abilities. Nobody wants that. The one had a page 2. You know what? I never even realized that. I don't think I've ever looked at page 2 in my life.
Engineer report.
Yeah, I'm not very good at this, like, passive currency accumulation stuff. I'm more of an active farmer. I like to, like, feel the weight of the loot. Your filter does not see... I know. 1 chaos. It's meant to be that way at the moment. That is by design. I ran some nightmare maps through my mappers, and they like didn't finish the maps, or just like failed them all, I guess. Not that the mapper died or anything, but it's kind of like, what the heck? The heck, I've run out of maps. Ran out of the good ones. Ran out of Val orbs even. Rich boy? I don't feel too rich right now. Holy, I'm rich. Because the build I want to make is like over 10 mirrors. Well, it's not really fair. Like, a couple of items or a couple mirrors. And then the mirror's up. Maybe I got a damnation farm. What is this stupid thing worth now? Oh, look at that. It's down. Down again. Morning. What do you think of rolling into? I actually want to roll into basically what I showed off the other day. As an idea for a league starter, I recently, in the last couple days, have been making the like full, absolute tripped out multi-mirror tier version of Static. Forget the name of it. Static Strike of Gathering Lightning. On a Warden. Accuracy / Frenzy Stacker. Very high damage for its transfigured gem. There are actually several players who have rolled builds like it. I think Flicker Strike is the most popular version. But I want to try this gem out instead. I can like switch to something else if I want, but there's a lot of different skills that will go well with voices and adorned. No, not that far. No. Interesting. I hadn't even thought about adorned, actually. There's some new tech, though, this league. There's a helmet that allows you to get over 4,000 flat accuracy. And there's, I think it's a new amulet that gives you, like, over 300 accuracy per empty green socket in your gear. And, like, this build only has, like, the main 6 link. And then, like, one other skill. The aura. What I've been doing, like, super lately is trying to figure out what elegant hubris to use. It's an elegant hubris build. So cluster bases are actually still worth something, even though they're only 83. That's kind of weird. But I do need to look at adorned. Yeah. It's an accuracy frenzy stacker. It has over 100,000 accuracy and 12 frenzy charges. And most recent variation I've looked at with tinctures on. Tinctures are not full-time. It's melee build with tinctures up only when you click it. Only one tincture. With tinctures on, it's 1.15 billion DPS. And that's with 2 ascendancy points in bark skin. If I pull those and put them in to make it a real tincture build, then it's like 1.6 billion DPS, or actually no, it's probably closer to 2 billion. If I didn't work on that variation for a while, but I kind of don't see the point. Are you already doing a billion DPS? I mean, what in the game is... If you do a billion DPS and again, 6 portals. I don't think so. I'm gonna use Aspect of Lunaris, which is a highly effective defensive aspect, especially with bark skin. And it has Fortify naturally. I'm thinking about doing Arctic armor, but it's kind of annoying to fit in, and I lose a gem link if I do that. It's got like 3,600 live, so yeah, not a big life pool. Full spell suppress, and again, it's all bark skin tech, so it's got a lot of added survivability there. Endurance charges, three endurance charges full time. Got like endurance charge when hit recently.
What have you got for me?
Decisions must be made. Decisions must be made. Return soon.
A cool video idea would be how to get your ideas from builds or how to start. I find myself altering a build from a template. Building one from scratch is always overwhelming. That is a good build idea. That would be a very that'd be a tough video to make.
Business. I should raise my fees.
I feel like there's no way I could make a video like that without going way over the top,
What are we shipping?
like babbling on about this and that.
I think I can sell that.
That reminds me, I have thought about making a video like that before.
Ahoy there.
Can you believe this is worth 110 chaos? What? What? But that's only worth 6. Okay. Okay, Bob. Lightning trap. No good.
Ahoy there! I think I can sell. Why not go even higher?
Yeah, so I think the whole, like, being overwhelmed and making builds is a very natural thing. Damn, these are only worth, like, 2 div now. I can vaguely recall the first build I ever had, and I basically... Even the very first build I ever made, it was, of course, I was just following another build guide, and as I was making it and exploring it, I mean, it's just so much time. I mean, I was somebody who enjoyed getting into the nuts and bolts of a build, of course, but I didn't know jack shit about the game at the time. So it was an immense learning process, an invigorating one, a fun one, of course, if you like it. And even the very first league I played, I deviated from the build guide in some ways. I can't remember, like, after the fact in retrospect, really, but I know it at least at the time. And I was like, oh, you know what? I think I'm gonna do this instead. Yeah, I like this idea instead. You know, and maybe it working out, maybe it not, but that's all part and parcel of making a build. That's what makes it fun. Hey Snoo, hope you're doing great. I'm having fun with my first PoE 1 league with your build. Was wondering if you'd recommend me try to max your build with Ice Shot or follow the build and switch to Tornado Shot. Would a missing specific tech used to make the Ice Shot build work well? I think if you, like, just look at the build that I have on the PoE Ninja, and you can use, like, snapshots from PoE Ninja if you want, up until, like, I have a nice progression curve for this build up through, like, the first 7 days. PoE Ninja allows you to go back in day by day to check up to the first 7 days, and then it's like week by week. Fortunately, I progressed the build pretty well in the first 7 days, so you would have a pretty good blueprint of how to build it up. And I'm of course upgrading it in an optimal manner in that process because I know the build inside and out and doing that. So up to that point, it should be pretty easy to just stay with that. In the end, depending on if you embrace the glass cannon or not, there are some technical issues with the build going bark skin here. Would honestly be better off going Oath of Winter, I think. There's at least on Delirious, like Delirious Nightmare bosses or something. Just don't freeze them. I noticed this in gameplay. Now, it doesn't matter that much because you're just doing so much effing damage, but it does matter sometimes, and I don't know, it's a bit of a double-edged sword, because, like, oh, if you're not freezing, you take longer to kill, then you're subjecting to damage, but hey, you got bark skin and all the bark skin tech, so maybe you'll let it live, or, you know, you blitz the boss down even faster, but you don't have bark skin, so if you get clipped by anything, you're dead, but hey, you're actually freezing, getting the full damage package of the build, so isn't that good? You know, these kind of builds like this, you're kind of obliged to embrace the glass cannon full out. Unlike the next build that I'm going to come out with is actually going to be a little bit of real incentive to build some tankiness into it because it's a melee build. Following Connor mostly, it's always weird different seeing your actual mirror builds that are still glass. Yeah. This, you know, one of the reasons why I'm doing another build is because it's been a really long time since I've like looked into like super late in-game tech. I would say one criticism I would give myself lately in PoE 1 is that I've not really pushed these builds, these bow builds, to the extremes. Which is to say, I'm realizing now after looking at a lot of things, like real super min-maxed in-game builds are stackers of some kind. They're like what I'm about to embark on, like Frenzy, Accuracy Stacker, they're Attribute Stackers, Strength Stackers, they're Mana Stackers with Archmage support, they're fucking Life Stacker, Energy Shield Stackers, like they will pick a stat and attempt to stack it to the moon, and usually there's some sort of double dipping aspect to that, like you getting like both defense and offense at the same time, or you're like double dipping in defense or double dipping in offense or something like that, and they scale to the moon. You know, I don't have anything like a 15k life build or a 20k ES build or, you know, 2000 dex build or, you know, 100,000 accuracy build. I've never even played something like that before. It's kind of weird that I've been playing this game as long as I have without ever actually doing one of those kind of builds. So it's taken me an extra long time to kind of explore that in depth, because what I'm about to do is a dual stacking is even harder than a single stacking, of course. So it's Frenzy, Accuracy Stacker. It all weaves into the Deadeye's. I can't see the Deadeye's ascendancy. Anyway, there's a Deadeye ascendancy called Avidity, which gives you a % more accuracy bonus per frenzy charge. % more accuracy is an impossibly rare stat, so it's actually incredibly strong. And the ironic thing is most frenzy accuracy stacking Deadeyes, the ascendancy point they steal is Oath of Spring, because you're stacking flat lightning damage off of boot mod. So I'm going to do this backwards. I'm going to actually play Warden and steal Avidity, the Deadeye node. Which I don't think anybody's doing. Actually, let me find out. What is Avidity worth? Oh, nothing. Okay. Nice. There's like a freaking ton of them on trade. 175 chaos. So this tells me that, yeah, alright, this one's even cheaper. This tells me that what I'm about to build is definitely not something that is even remotely meta. It's not even, it's not even on the outer edges, because there's 80-something of these on both sides, and they're not even worth one div. They're worth like one divine collectively. But this is what I'm gonna do. And you know, these builds they run, so they're not projectile builds, they're melee builds. So they run Avidity, Tailwind, and what's the secondary Tailwind one, the defensive one? Windward, yeah, Windward. But they're not like, they're okay for like a Windward style thing. Some of them deliberately spec out of spell suppress into spell dodge, and like they're trying to go like all the block shit and everything. And to me, I was looking at it and stuff, and I was like, you know, probably be wiser just to go, instead of like having to like throw a bunch of passive points into spell block and regular block and like over suppress to get your 75% spell dodge, and then like, you know, you gotta also get your evasion. Instead of trying to jump through all those rings, why not just run Barkskin? Just go regular spell suppression, 100%. And blow up your evasion, like, easily, because Warden can easily, obviously, with the bark skin. And not even mess with block. Like, not even build into it. Because the Warden, like, the difference between those two setups is one is highly evasive, but takes full hits when hit, and the other is not nearly as evasive, but mitigates a lot more damage. Generally speaking, the latter is a better way to play this game. So, yeah, I just feel like it'll make more sense to do that. And again, oh, and then everybody's stealing the King of the Mist thing. +1 ring. It's a +1 ring build. It's what makes doing your own build so cheap. Always hate following too far behind a Connor Lanceville because they pay a fraction. Yeah. Yeah. Well, Arnold, that is the biggest reason for you to make your own builds. I don't have a lot of sympathy for somebody who is forced to pay a bunch of currency because they're following a build. It may be kind of harsh to say, because I know a lot of people follow the build I do. Fortunately, you guys are lucky. Like, in PoE 2, maybe a different story, but in PoE 1, I have not had a meta build in, like, 10 leagues or something. Like, a build where, like, a huge number of people were following, and I personally saw a, like, massive drop off the cliff, to the supply and demand ratios, such that, like, things started being worth, like, 30, 40 times what I paid for, that kind of stuff. I haven't seen anything like that in a very long time. And generally speaking, you guys, you might have to pay like 2 or 3 or 4 times, whatever, but that's nothing compared, like, that's cheapskates. For following a build, to only have to pay like 2, 3, 4 times what the creator of the build had to pay, and that, by the way, that really only applies if the build is not fully fleshed out in advanced, where, like, people know what it's going to be before League Start, like there's like a League Start guide and everything. Like this, what I'm about to make is truly like a hidden build. Like, nobody knows what it is, nobody knows what I'm buying, nobody knows exactly what I'm attempting to get, and there are a couple things that I'm going to purchase that are, like, worth a mirror or something right now, and then those items will basically be unobtainable, because there's not enough of them if there were a large swath of people trying to follow, which there won't be, probably, but if there were. And, things that are worth, like, 100 divines will be worth, like, 700 divines, maybe. Something like that. So, that's just how it goes. But, yeah, the reason I don't have a lot of sympathy for other people is because you have the choice. You can make your own builds, and the pleasure of making your own build results in extremely cheap prices, but you have to go through all that legwork of, like, theory crafting it, testing it, failing at it, and then, like, picking yourself up and trying different versions and stuff, and that is the price you pay for doing that. Like, you're paying a price one way or another. You're either paying an inflated cost to get a build instantly that's already done, figured out for you, or you're putting the upfront cost in time and energy and investment, mental, banging your head against the wall, the game outside the game called Path of Building, you're just spending all day in there. Of course you deserve a discount for doing that. When you make your own build, you understand it all the better. Yep. Alright, I gotta pull up Wealthy Exile. There are a couple things I should honestly buy right now, if I can. But I forget what they were. I got 395 divines in here, really? Oh yeah, 8 immortals. That would account for something. Streamers got an entire chat to help them theory craft. No way it's as easy as non-streamer to find your own build as easily though. Okay, Eris. So yes, I think you are right, but I actually don't do that. I reap the benefits of it after the fact, but like I've spent like I haven't been streaming. You guys might have noticed I haven't streamed in a while, but I've been using Path of Building for 8+ hours a day for the past 3 or 4 days straight. I just don't really feel like streaming that. Usually, I think that's part of personality. I get way too mentally focused on. Like I would not be able to talk to anybody doing that, and to me it would just be like the most mundane, boring stream ever. You know, where I would be obligated to like weaken my focus on what I'm actually doing so that I can communicate to people, oh yeah, I'm doing this. I've done it a few times, and it takes my productivity down and just into the mud. Like it just wrecks my productivity in terms of like actually theory crafting thing. With the one upside being what you're getting at, people can like help shape things to do and what to do. I found that to be really useful early, but now what I'm looking at in the ways the amount of depth that I'm going into this, I've also streamed things like this before too, and you know, even if if I had like 1,000 viewers, there'd probably be a few who would be able to answer immediately any wild, you know, off the cuff question I had about something, but I don't know, with 100 or 200 viewers, like I quite often like ask a question in chat, nobody knows. Literally nobody. It's just like wasting my breath. You know, it would make no difference whether it was like by myself or doing that. And it's not you guys' responsibility to like answer my questions, but I've just noticed that the longer I play the game, the deeper I go into like, you know, all the idiosyncrasies of the game, Path of Building and everything, the further away I drift from like, you know, the average players trying to follow, and they're just not catching it. And my viewership is not so much the type who are like, I don't have a bunch of, I guess, Jungron viewers, you know, where they are a lot of his viewers are like super familiar with the game, like in-depth technical knowledge of the game, because like he builds his content around that sort of thing. Most people here, they're just here for the tanks, here for the builds, here for the juice, and here for the strats. Probably not here for all the super deep technical stuff in the build. That's what I would wager. This is based off of, you know, several months, several years at this point of streaming different types of content and seeing what becomes of it. Gosh darn it, I forget what I was going to buy. Here for the spreadsheet and of farm results. You know, I revamped my Ice Shot of Penetration starter, gave it like twice as much DPS and even more survivability by going the +1 ring route. It lost some movement speed. It lost the Quicksilver Flask, but it got like permanent Adrenaline and Onslaught on the way back. Yeah. Darren, I'm sorry, I missed your hello. I saw it. I was talking about something else. Sorry, bud. We got a lot of people on Twitch chat right now. So apparently these accuracy scaling mods can't be volatile orbed into better stats. Kind of like a Widow Hail can be. You know how Widow Hail can go above 250 if you volatile val it, but like these accuracy stacking mods and stuff they can't, I guess. Or there's just literally none on trade. It's kind of fun. First time I'm looking at the market on any of this stuff. Yep. Wow. How did this show up on here for so cheap? My guy's got a pretty good version of this. Oh, he's trying to sell his build. Wow. Interesting. He's literally just put his build in here. I know this is his build because there's a lot of similarities between the build that I was looking at and this one. That's crazy. Not 100% exact, of course, but this is the weapon. This is a dual wielding this way. He used a shield. I'm not gonna wear those gloves. I looked at builds like this on PoE Ninja, dozens, and it's just sitting here, and it's like switching build, I guess. This helmet's really interesting. Look at this. I'm guessing that you just put like a one modded one in there, and then it's like done deal. I don't know why it's corrupted. Why is it corrupted? Volatile Val works on all items. Do you craft your items or buy them? I generally craft them all. I mean, I buy unique items, of course. I want to craft one of these myself. These are the really freaking expensive things right here. But that's not actually a good one. Wait a minute, this is... Hold on a second. Does that mean that the resistance per empty white socket can't be moved? I gotta check this. How high does that mod roll? 225 times 1.22? 274? That's not bad. I actually need to check this. 330 is 70 divines. This roll matters a huge amount. It's like one of the most important rolls in the whole build. It has to be nearly perfect volatile vald. It's at 220. Let me see what a perfect one is. It's 70 times 1.2 is 329, and there's 330. Oh, shit, I didn't even know. Wow. Interesting. That's probably worth buying. Because I'm really gonna want a perfect one. There's one on trade right now that's actually overrolled. On every mod. Wow. When you use a volatile Val Orb, how many different like thresholds of rolls it is? Because it can be up to 1.22 overroll or underroll. Is there like 100 different variations of it? I wonder. I mean, this is fine. It's whatever. It's like 2 hours of farming.
It seems every dog has his day.
Yeah, this is the perfect one. This shouldn't even be possible, because technically a perfect one would be 274.95, and GG always rounds down, so I don't even know how that was possible to hit. Melee, strike, skill, splash, all surrounding time. I thought about taking that. I'll just leave it on for now. Anyway, this is one of the most important items in the whole build. Builds like this. It's a new item, I think. Fairly new. Maybe it's new this league, I don't know. 330 accuracy rating for each empty green socket on any equipped items. And if you're using a 6-link and just like one other gem and swords, that's like 3, 6, 10, 14, 17. Okay, that's 17 empty green sockets potentially. And it's not like crazy difficult to get nothing but empty green sockets, considering you're just working with a max 4-link. And I think the swords, and I think every piece of gear is like either evasion or like a sword, so it would default to the green color anyway. That 4 green socket 4-link might be a little bit tough to do, but I've definitely seen it before. This league. Well, it's cool to get that item out of the way. I was a little bit worried. That one might be tough to get a really good one. And I knew because you're stacking up 17 sockets, it's kind of important to have it damn near perfect. Just freaking precursor rings, man. God, these things. These things. Just the global accuracy rating per frenzy charge and max frenzy. 2 hits out of 3 is a freaking mirror. Starting price is 1 mirror. Oh yeah, if you want a perfect one, it's like double accuracy. Actually, there's not even one on existence in existence right now. There were actually a few like 2 days ago, but for like 3 or 4 mirrors, they're not even there anymore. They have been removed. Yoink. Hmm. Mm-mm-mm. Wonder how hard it is to hit these. Well. You get to mirror one of them, though. So, like, you know, I'll definitely buy one for a mirror. Because it doubles up. The other one, I don't know, I might skimp out a little bit. Well, unless I can sell the build. I forgot my brother's gifts. Brother's gift. Let's just get divination cards out of the way. Divination. 7 years. Mad King. Divine Beauty.
Hello. I'll put the word out.
Quality should be 1440. Oh, what the hell? Ah, we'll turn one in for fun, I guess.
Hello.
That is not a good one. Wait, maybe it is. Still with 9 divine. What? The rate 10,000. I mean, if you're watching this on YouTube, it's higher. I think that's a Twitch issue. I don't know. Apparently, this is like a mid-tier one.
Hopefully there'll be interest.
It's for Adorned, right?
Ahoy there! I'll put the word out. Ahoy there. I should raise
People seem to like Chaos Orbs these days.
Oh. What have you
Actually, I enjoy turning this one in. I'm gonna buy one more of these. I've hit some bangers before. Elemental Hit of the Spectrum. Yeah, that's 2.6. Arc of Surging. Nope. Something of Volleys. Nope. Earthquake of Amplification. Bro, that thing is like
have you
with nothing.
had that?
These are like alright, I guess. I do know me an Elemental Hit of the Spectrum gem. 2120. Yo, Lelo. Appreciate you streaming. Appreciate you subbing to the channel. First time, I believe. Welcome aboard. How am I liking the league so far? Definitely not my favorite league. But it's a weird one for me because I had a huge amount of success this league start. Like my first few days were better than any I've had in the past. The build I chose, what the build I chose is capable of doing early on in a budget is pretty insane. So it's just works so well.
The Merry League.
And I didn't even play as much as usual this league. Even in like in the first week or so. Damn, I should have sold these. These were 15 C a piece last I checked. Oof. Oof. Really?
All in order. I'll let you know.
Of course, the ground loot situation is still a problem, I guess. See, this is... I don't want to do this. Okay, maybe now. Maybe now, hold number. Crazy, this is still worth so much.
In order. Oh.
I'm having a hard time figuring out if Abomination's even like a special place anymore.
Ah,
This fortress seems to have pretty close EV to Abomination.
oh. I should raise my fees. All in order. I'll let you know.
Anything else I should buy? Closing all my old tabs. Time to set up new ones. Blue Dream. You know, I thought about not doing Unholy Trinity, but ultimately decided to do it. It's definitely not as good if you actually have 2 tinctures. It kind of ruins Elemental Pen. Love your Cold Tornado. Played in 3.27. Also like your strats. I'm kind of bored doing Propagation Abyss. Do you have any recommendation? Well, I made a couple videos this league already on some stuff. I feel like all roads lead to boss rushing these days. That's what I'm thinking. Not Foulborn, guys. Not Foulborn. I think it's near my gold. This Thief's Trinket. If you do any kind of like heist content at all, even in maps, you get extra rogue markers from that. It doesn't really matter at this point in the league, but early on in the league, it's kind of good. How important is you cannot be cursed with silence? I mean, does that really even matter? Thanks for the opinion, but boss rush is boring as hell.
The dog
Well,
is in the hen house, as a commoner might say.
that might be why it's so good.
The dog is in the hen house, as a commoner might say.
Transcendent Flesh. Not used in most builds, I feel. Gonna get discount corrupted blood immunity? That'd be great. I mean, it can't be that. 92 divines. Oh my god, dude. Is cluster strat still viable? That strat, the cluster market is not nearly as good as it was when I made the video at this point. But it is still viable. You were getting a lot of different things in that strat, so, I mean, even if clusters are kind of thrown out, it's still going to be alright. Man. dirt cheapest freaking jewels with corrupted blood immunity are so expensive. Unique jewels. Like the cheapest unique jewels still cost an arm and a leg. It'll be 25 to plus an hour. For me, it probably would be, yeah. But you gotta go fast.
Oh,
22 simulacrums. Why are these so expensive? Guys, what is going on?
we'll
What
make
is
it happen.
this? Oh my god, what are these worth now? This shit sold instantly.
Business.
I'm about to go to freaking Tropical Island, man. What in the world? Gosh. I mean, I'll just get them on boss rushing anyway. Alright, I'm going to... Hold on, let me think if there's anything else I want to check. Body armor, I gotta craft, Oh god, I gotta craft boots. Tailwind elusive boots. Oh. Sucks. Actually, I should check weapons. Question is, losing an implicit accuracy roll, is it worth it though? With a Val Corrupt. Only if melee hits have a chance to fortify, that'd be it. Maybe attack speed, no. Nah, even that probably not. What damn. Balborn Dream Feather. I hope they fix Exiles next league, because they're so bad if you try to juice them. Yeah, they are bad. I don't know why. I don't know why they're so bad. Evasion. 18. Ooh. Damn. Wait a minute. I feel like a divine prophet that craft these. Just to get the accuracy roll up right. Nice. Pretty nice. I mean, not bad. The people that corrupted and give resolute technique. Oh my god. Do they even know what they're doing? I'm gonna do the other one. Just because I can. This is actually a three-way stacker. It's an accuracy, evasion, frenzy charge stacker. Wow. How am I so good at this game? One hit. It's not quite as good as the other one. Instantly worth 8 divine. Okay. Do people corrupt this? What? Huh. I just want to see how this works. I don't know how this works. So Abyssal Jewel accuracy. What? All right. Okay. Hold on. I'm gonna learn something right now. I'm gonna learn this. Nothing go in. I don't know if it's chosen or not. Socketed rare abyssal jewels will be consumed. One modifier from consumed jewels will be retained. Well, so what if I only have one mod on it? Like, what if I just...
Nice of you to join. Yes. Got something in mind.
You can split it? Oh, you can split it too. Wow. Oh shit. That's kind of dope. Okay, you guys already know this. All right, I'll do it once just to see it for myself. Split. Split.
See you.
Yeah, I probably don't. Do we not do this in here anymore? Oh, it's a Ducat now. Oh shit. Okay. Kisahara? Thought I had that one. There's a reason why you're using Guiding Palm of the Heart instead of Sacred Flame. Yeah, it's for a few reasons. Gosh, PoE2. Rakietis Flow doesn't work as well with Sacred Flame. And Trinity doesn't work as well with Sacred Flame. Most likely. I mean, there are workarounds for it, but if you really want to use Sacred Flame, you can.
We'll make it happen.
All flame
What do you
crafting.
need? I'll do what I can to help. Nice and shiny.
I guess it doesn't really matter. Was I even guaranteed to hit the right thing? Boop. Wow. I just did that. Now I'm gonna get stuck. Oh, okay. All right. Let's stick with that. So this will not have 4,000. Wait, why is it randomly rolled? It re-rolled. It re-rolled it. It was $2.99. It re-rolled it? Bro. Oh, it was right before. Oh. Okay, I ruined it. So I ruined it basically. I got it. I'm just gonna like, I don't know. Post this for it's probably not gonna sell, but whatever. It's okay. I know how to do it now. That was worth a little bit of money. It's what we pay for, experiences. At least the flasks will be freaking cheap. So I'm gonna make Tailwind, Onslaught, Elusive Boots. The gloves I already got. I still gotta get Mirror Tier Ring and another one. Weapons will be easy. Helmet will be actually pretty easy. Neck is already acquired. Body armor I gotta craft. Belt I have to craft. Yeah, it's basically just farming for the freaking ring. It's basically what I gotta do now. Okay.
Could do worse.
I guess I'll just do 20 maps at a time. Oh, I can God, I haven't pulled up the regex site in a while. And all the mods? Alright. Had to get my nightmare map regex back up and running.
I'd
Right here.
consider that a win.
Show. Hootie MT.
Consider that a win.
Man, I don't know anything about the Archdemon helmet crafts. Burning damage. You wouldn't want burning damage support an elemental hit spectrum. I would never build a
Could do worse, exile.
like maybe an elementalist league starter might do something like that, but even then burning arrow is always higher DPS. Thoughts on plain pilfering on Sanctuary map? Generally, I wouldn't pilfer on Nightmare maps, but I mean, they are easier than usual.
I'd
'Cause-
consider that a win.
You know, one time you're gonna get like 1,000 cards though.
Not bad. Not bad at all.
Guys, how much do you think I could sell my build for?
Could do worse, exile.
And do people still do that? They still sell a whole build? 'Cause I haven't I haven't done that in ages.
I'd consider that a win.
A-bomb! A-bomb, where are you? Down here. Well, I don't know. I guess I'll just put Rogue Exiles on. No, actually, no. I'm gonna... Is this... Hmm? Ooh. They still do that on TFT.
Ahoy! I'll put the word out. Or we'll make it happen.
I mean, I swear it's been like 10 leagues since I sold a build on TFT.
All in order. All in order. I'll let you know.
Now, streamer privilege is pretty real on like the whole selling a build. My God, guys, we're gaming. Been a hot minute. Okay, yes, still wearing Adrenaline Rush. Nice. This is me going the long way. I think I figured out why my build does more damage than it's supposed to. It's off of tornadoes. The overlap, the angle and all that, they actually double hits off of tornadoes. Not on the boss, but off of hydrospheres and tornadoes actually does do a double hit. Does anybody know how to get a coursing elements gem into standard league? Grand Ember's worth a little bit before. Can't wait to see what they're worth now. Forgot TFT exploded? I know, dude. Well, they are worth a little more.
I'll put the word out.
And it's 4-4 revealed. 120. 120 C.
I think I can sell that.
Should probably just do blueprints on Ashen Vale. Ashen Wood, the Casino WoW map. Ashen Wood. Last league doing that in the Mirage maps. That was so degen. So guys, it's been well over a week since the Wildwood buff patch. What's the verdict? Did anybody find the loot after all? Wait, I'm dropping less simulacrum spoons than I'm supposed to. I tried a few strats, not every strat, but the number of wisps you get now is crazy. I know. And how do you put those wisps to good use? So much currency, what the hell?
Check in with me when you have a moment.
Only thing I've seen actually do anything is Breach. So not even Abyss. The new and improved Abyss. 6 Chaos Orbs? What? What the fuck? Sentinel log. Screw the Wildwood. I want Sentinel. One Bob dropped 6 chaos. Okay. Get pretty good results with Alva. Alva. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Killed the wrong guy. And Astrolabe. Dude, I forgot you're also farming those. Just knew it's bad with exiles. That's fine. I get Delirium Orbs. Even if I don't get Cluster, you'll still get Delirium Orbs. They're worth like 15 C apiece. I'm down. See? Delirium Orb right there. Will you go back to PoE2 for the Econ reset? Yes. Pray tell. Is there an Econ reset coming? Did they make an announcement? I thought I killed one of them. Rudy Astrolabe.
Sold something while you were gone.
It's confirmed, but no hard date. Okay. Delirium Scarab? Chasing Elder Circles with Delirium Scarab. I guess. I guess I could full clear this map. That sweet, sweet deli of paranoia. It's late in the league. Is it worth jumping into 129? I don't like answering that question because that's an extremely subjective question. Like, I don't even experience the economy the same way people do. So if they're sketchy about that sort of thing, I don't know. Like, I don't know how much you want to get back into the game. I don't know how sensitive you are to late or mid-in-game economies. Not a good question to try and answer for somebody. Although your average streamer would probably just doom and gloom some comment. Wish they kept Nightmare Maps 84. You and Surgog. Hey, how tanky is Winter Orb anyway? Hold on, I can get more paranoias. Paranoia. Like, what's their max fizz hit? Happy Snooze Bill? Are you talking about my new upcoming experimental, highly experimental, off meta, way off meta build? Talking about that build that's I'm farming currency for? Oh! Dude, what are our experimented blueprints worth now? They're so expensive. Let me lose. Alright, well, it's fine. You just gotta believe in Melee. Melee is back. It's so back. Seriously though, is Winter Orb at all tanky? No, it's replica. Do you see this boss jumping into the sky at like 2% life?
Check in with me when you have a moment.
Getting good RNG with these reality fragments. 2 passive reservation. What the fuck, man? Fuck.
I'll let you know.
2 passive?
Hello.
I wonder what regular blueprints are worth. NKES with it? 10KES? What? It's a lot of yes. What, like, actual defensive layers do they have? Does it have any like actual mitigation of any kind? Oh, you guys want to hear something cool? Do you guys know that a bow build can get up to 40% reduced damage taken from one source, from one single source? You guys know that? Spell block? Does it have another evasion source? Or just... Wait, it doesn't even have regular block? Or you mean like... 70... The regular block? Attack block? Yeah, anyway, I found out that reverse chill, Call of the Void style, like Forbidden Rite, reverse chill, Call of the Void, while wearing Ahu on his bite, on an Elementalist, 40% increased action speed, 40% reduced damage taken, globally. What the fuck? Is that crazy? Pretty crazy, man. Now, if only they would freaking introduce fire and lightning taken as cold, so you can get up to 100, you know, like on a, oh, I don't know, on a single talisman, for example. Then we could cook it up with the bone chill. You guys would be surprised to hear I made a League starter that has both reverse chill and adrenaline. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Boils swell from the earth.
I think I'll link it.
Foul, malignant flesh without purpose.
For funsies. I really did like massively improve my own League starter. This League. I wish I could do the League over again with this version. Oh well. It's like criminally overpowered. Let's pull it up. Here it is. On both sides. Check out that beast. Wildwood. I'm gonna do it.
My mana is gone.
But I'm not gonna take it super seriously, okay? Okay? Huh? Oh my god, really? Saved by the refill. Alright, well, I'll take it seriously enough. Like, chase the yellow trail proper. Purple's west. Yellow is south. Why didn't I chase it this way anyway? What am I doing? Wow, okay. By steel crit resistant. I'm kind of defenseless against crits. Oh, this is gonna be fun. Just drop a whole freaking ton of rares on one screen that respawn instantly. What could go wrong? Wait, this spawned hardly any rare. Barely anything. How much loot? Saw the new Spider-Man movie yesterday. It had a nice ending. I really liked the ending. I was feeling kind of meh about it for most of it, but that ending was nice. Oh boy. Well, I gotta... I got the other one. Do I like KB? You asking me? I've never played KB. I'm just gonna go ahead and say no, though. Every time people ask, I'm like, I don't play wands. I never played a wander. This ain't no Harry Potter game. Yeah, I shoot bows. I don't go around Expelliarmusing. Or whatever. Oh my god, Leviosa the monsters to death. That old wisped map. Ah, I beat the wisped nightmare boss rush map. 12. You guys know other farms still exist where you can like fairly quickly get 300 simulacrum splinters in one map? Like, is that still a thing? So is it a Robin Hood game? Yeah, because Robin Hood's a lot cooler than Harry Potter. Yeah, I'll get down with that. Yeah, Robin Hood game. That's a lot of volatile cores, guys. We need spears in PoE1. Only if they come with Twister. Guys, you aren't gonna believe this. I actually did theorycraft a Twister PoE1 build. I tried. I tried to make it make sense, but unfortunately it just... There's this bow called Wing of the Wyvern. Really interesting concept. Unfortunately kind of half-baked. It basically allows you to freeze with chaos damage, first of all. You've got battle mage onto it, and then also it procs a spell from the bow every time you freeze an enemy. So with Warden Hoarfrost, that would go off like what, every 0.25 seconds or whatever, basically. You can, so I mean fairly reliably, but like it's basically the proc rate is going to be like a third of what a cast on crit gem is. But it effectively saves you 2 links in the spell damage link. So I was like, what do I even put in this thing? What was gonna make sense? I looked at like Hex Blast and all kinds of weird stuff. But actually I think it kind of made sense to probably put Tornado in there, or Tornado of Turbulence. We can only have 3 max tornadoes, because that's the kind of skill that you actually need to cast periodically, but you don't need to spam it. Like, it doesn't do any good to just spam it. But it needs to be cast fairly frequently, because it lasts for like 5 seconds or something. So I think that would have made kind of sense to use that skill in there, but I don't know, it just seemed a little weak. It does have kind of an automated homing missile nature to it, so maybe it's better than I expect. Kind of a passive damage type build it would be. I didn't really like finish fleshing it out. I don't remember. There for a hot minute though, I was like, dude, I want this to be my league starter next league. Okay, I'm not doing that well, but not on this content. Exiles suck anyway.
My mana is gone.
You know, I still haven't even listened or watched the Zizern interview. I keep forgetting to watch that. You guys think that was worth watching? Imagine Whirling Slash and PoE 1 character? Well, I mean, they have Cyclones, so it'd be about the closest thing. Oh! Hearing runes! Hearing runes! Wow, a deli boss. I can't believe it. You guys remember when Delirium boss clusters were actually worth something? What, like 5 years ago? That's what they need to revamp. They dropped 65. 65? Dude, what? That guy dropped like 30 splinters.
You've had a sale, exile.
Oh. Okay, I'm actually gonna properly rush the boss this time. Proper. Well timed. Oh, never mind. My run got bricked. Got bricked by Chevron. Flying up. Honestly, a part of me just wants to take these out and put them in Oath of Spring and Oath of Winter. Actually, I probably do. Oath of Summer. Content like this, when I get to the boss room, they're definitely not getting frozen. Up again. We only got 10% shock there. I feel like trying out 100 Wildwood Exile maps, but dang. Did like 20 successful Blue Wisp map, dropped 3 raw div and a few puzzle boxes. Octavian also admitted they over-nerfed Exiles in the interview, so it's probably not worth the effort. Yeah, I don't think so. I've tested Exiles off and on since the major nerf, and you know, I am somebody who likes to make something work, you know, even if it seems a bit nerfed. It is really bad drops. Rare monsters don't seem much better either. That's why we're in the season of magic monsters. Doedre dropped a delirium orb. Yo. Yo. Jesus Christ, dude. There's like 5 delirium orbs and 3 reality fragments in that boss room. You know how much currency that is? How fast that currency is? What the heck? Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind this is like some 40 div an hour strat. I think at this point the Exiles is there for the Delirium Orb drops, actually, more than anything. Obviously if I hit a cluster, that's great, but it's really about the Deli Orbs. Dropped a cluster. Well, I mean, Fiend Killer, I did actually try Magic Monsters through Shrines. Magic Monsters Ghosted and Wisped for the Wildwood. I think on a different kind of character that might be a little bit better, like a kind of immortal Righteous Fire character or something that can just turn the damage off. Something like that. Mine wasn't all that good. Like, I had to kill some monsters in order to not die ghosting them.
Prepare to face your unmaking.
But I was able to test it well enough to know if it would be a thing, really, and it's just not. I may have not given it quite enough attempts, enough sample size, but...
Oh, check in with me when you have a moment.
So yeah, I mean, it's basically like Breach or just an enormous quantity of just magic monsters, bloodlines. If you ever get like a bloodline strat combined with Wildwood, you're gonna hit some tinks, definitely. But that Scarab's expensive. So I guess, you know, if I really wanted to play that way, I'd probably just keep using Wisp Scarabs and deal with the fact that it's going to be scuffed during a Wildwood, but I get a little bit extra excited when a Wildwood spawns.
Business. Hopefully there'll be interest. I'll update that.
I tried Meat Sacks last league and it was really bad. I haven't tried it this league though.
Maybe.
I did like Essence Meat Sacks even.
Business.
That just kind of goes into the whole like there's something wrong with rare monsters in the game right now.
Should raise my flag.
Like they will drop some uniques. They'll drop when you do like Meat Sacks, what you get is like 500 orbs of fusing. 1,000 alteration orbs. That's the kind of drops you get. How much do you have to get this build going? It's got a lot of different stages in it. Right now I have a lot of divines, a couple thousand divines into it probably. Maybe not that much actually, but definitely upwards of 1,000 or more divines. I actually think I'm going to try to sell the build. Because I want to make a new build for the first time in ages. I really like this, but I mean, I did play last league too, and I've been theory crafting a new build a lot for the last few days. Let me show you what I did to this build to improve it on the League Starter. Where this build really shines is the League Starter. As a League Starter. So there's a couple things about this that is different than like your conventional Lightning Arrow Deadeye. It moves a little slower. Its clear is simultaneously better and worse, depending on how you look at it. One projectile splitting into others, but you have to aim. Bigger AoE, but fewer projectiles in an instant coverage type situation. It hits way harder in two separate ways, compounding ways. One, eye shot of penetration is like the highest, probably the highest DPS, at least highest DPS elemental bow skill in the game, because apparently the overlap, which can go up to, you can see here it says 120% increased area effect angle, especially when you get that number higher. It seems that it like twice overlaps off of the tornado. So when it hits a tornado, you actually hit the enemy. You AoE the enemy twice in one hit. On the initial split, anyway, the initial split tornado hit. So one projectile hits a tornado. It AoEs. It's a double coned AoE that actually hits the same adjacent target twice in one hit. Lightning Arrow doesn't do that. Elemental Spectrum doesn't do that. Nothing. Tornado Shot doesn't do that. Nothing does that. Well, Tornado Shot's different, obviously. And so, what turns people off from that skill is the fact that it's only one arrow and you have to aim. But that workaround is Fury Valve. Arrow made a build around this with Miner, which I assume people liked a lot, but I'm doing kind of a self-cast. And another reason why the build is really strong is it's on Warden with Tincture. The full Tincture package here, which is like the extra Tincture, full Tincture effects, Tincture nodes around here. They're way more damage than like any other nodes. They're even more damage, or as much damage as like, basically just imagine you had an elemental forces of nature, elemental mastery, and take that times 4. You know, the power of, like, a Deadeye knows how strong this is right here. Imagine you have 4 of these for Tincture effect, and then also getting like the innate value of Tinctures. That's kind of how much power you get from this. So one arrow must be targeted and actually aimed properly, plus Tinctures have to be kept up, but they can be up technically 100% of the time with this setup. This one's convenient because your Tinctures will never fall off prematurely because it's draining life, not mana, but then it will turn off after 12 stacks, which is a couple seconds, no serious drainage taking place yet. So, and then Enduring Suffusion, so it's like the most convenient, brain dead, easygoing version of full Tincture uptime that you can do. Now, what I changed, the big thing I changed is this. I decided to go for King of the Mist +1 ring slot. There is actually multiple reasons for that. For the record, the full DPS number on here before making this change was 20 million. Now it's 32 million to give you some just bird's eye view of the damage increase. First things here, Tincture is applied, you have 30% increase effect while affected by no flasks. The +1 ring, that's a rune graft, a very cheap one at League Start. Although, you know, day 1 it might still be a little expensive. I think it was like 15C or something. So this is the unaffected by poison utility flask or disabled setup, which kind of everybody does. And what this does is it removes what I had before, which was a Jade flask, a Quicksilver flask, and this was the interesting one, the Bismuth flask. It gave you corrupted blood and bleed immunity. That was up full time basically, but also capped your resistances on account of it. Some people don't like that, but it was very high uptime because it was give you crit charges on crit. Now then, Losing the Jade Flask, I mean, okay, go from like 70, go from like, I don't know, 78 to 68 evade chance, whatever. Losing the movement speed flask, all right, you know, we definitely lost some movement speed there. Losing the Quicksilver Flask. But you know what, we got some movement speed back. Because now we have full adrenaline uptime. How do I have full adrenaline uptime? Well, we get adrenaline on kill. With Death Rush. And now, because I'm not using any utility flask, I can fit in 2 or even 3 if I want to skip the Divine Life Flask of a Lang, but it's nice to, you know, get the bleed and corrupted blood immunity this way instead. And then an actual life flask. Oh my god, an actual life flask. So I might actually be able to, you know, survive some boss phases and stuff. 2 Writhing Jars, okay? 2 Writhing Jars. These spawn worms whenever you want. So you can just pop this once every, you know, 3 or 4 seconds. And you basically just have adrenaline up full time on the fight. Now, wait a minute. What about the, you know, running out of charge? You're going to run out of charges eventually. Well, no, not really, because of this. Nature's Concoction flasks adjacent to active tinctures gain 2 charges when you hit an enemy with a melee weapon no more than once every second. So you get 6 charges every 3 seconds on both flasks, on all 3 actually. And so the alternating between them, and I can't remember if I have increased flask charges gained. I don't actually think I do. But there's even like a more robust version where you could double up and take these right here. You could get 3 up to 4 life and mana flask charges every 3 seconds. That's 8 flask charges for a hybrid flask, by the way. That's 8 flask charges every 3 seconds. Combined with this will, like, that would keep one of these up full time, basically. But that's passive gain too, which is kind of even better in a way. Anyway, I decided that's probably not going to be necessary, especially since no boss fight's going to last longer than 10 or 15 seconds anyway, unless you're, you know, fighting a real serious boss. Regardless, you got 2 or 3 of them at your disposal. So presumably you would be able to... You start off being able to use four uses right off the bat. Essentially 3. Every single fight, you would get a bare minimum of 6 uses of this. And in any real fight, you would actually get at least 8 to 10. After about 8 or 10 uses, you might actually have a little bit of downtime on the flasks. Saying if you were popping it every 3 seconds, you know, for the adrenaline buff. You know, just like pianoing it a little bit, but not too much. This full adrenaline uptime tech coincides with this as well. Colloidal mixture, I always take this, but I never actually make use of the bottom line. Tinctures applied, you have 15% increased effect if you've used a life flask recently. That can't even be put into Path of Building for some dumb reason, so I had to put it in here manually. So that's an extra 15% increased effect. So this setup has 45% increased effect of tinctures beyond what we had before. The reason why these are so special is because they're instant. The only flask that has any duration whatsoever is the Divine Flask, the Divine Life Flask, which would be like, you know, a blip in a fight or something, if you even needed it. So this is going to be its own video actually at some point, probably at League Start, whether I play the build or not. This is such a ridiculously strong tech. I almost made a video on this before. Nature's Concoction is actually about the same amount of power that the Pathfinder gets. So when people rant and rave about the Pathfinder's charge recovery system or whatever, like the Warden has almost all of that here. It's just, it requires active gameplay rather than just being purely passive. But yeah, just the strongest tinctures. just ridiculous tincture tech there. You might have also noticed in the config I had 50% increase effective chill on you Brine King Pantheon workaround. That's because I'm gone Brine King because I'm not immune to elemental ailments anymore. So use a Brine King to get a 100% chance to avoid being frozen. But then for chill, it also comes with 50% reduced effective chill on you. I don't actually want that. And in the game right now, you can remove that by just running the, if you accidentally run the Divine Vessel for that, you can run it again and then it turns it off. Then you run again, turns it on again or whatever. You might know what I'm getting at. I'm talking about reverse chill. So this is tech that was reintroduced back in 3.29, this league. Used to be in the form of a cluster jewel. Now it is a support gem. Might be a little hard to access at league start, but at least it, well, actually, I don't know if I actually don't know if that gem was available at league start. Anyway, we'll get to it in a second. So my favorite thing about this build now is that I have the holy pairing of reverse chill and adrenaline rings. I've always wanted to do this. I've always wanted to do this on a league starter. But up until now, the only way you could get reverse chill is pairing Winterweave with either Call of the Void or that other, the poison, you're chilled when you're poisoned ring. I can't remember the name of it. Both of those have a massive headache to get to work. The poison side requires a special jewel, and it's still hard to survive your own poison. Stacks up your poison, get your chaos res, the golden rule, I think it's called. And then you have, so you get like a default 10% chill, and you got to put a whole bunch of increased effective chill on you to like scale it all the way up to 30%. It's like really annoying. And then you have to survive your own poisons. And then Call the Void mandates that you use like, there's a physical version, but generally speaking, you're using Forbidden Rite, which means you need cast on crit. Forbidden Rite, which means you need to actually be able to survive that. And you're going to take damage the whole time. And so that's also annoying to do. And I did that version back in Total League as a league starter, I think. Elemental hit before Elemental hit the Spectrum released, actually. When it worked for bows still. And so now we can use Malagaro's Restraint. Shocks you cause are reflected back to you. With a whole bunch of flat lightning and movement speed and damage, I might add. Pretty cool belt for league start. Sure as hell beats Bisco's Leash, unless you plug in 1,000 rampage buffs maybe, but yeah, that's a lot of damage on a belt if you're shocked. How do you get shocked? Well, you get shocked by shocking the enemy, okay? So, any amount of lightning damage, anything. I mean, I'm doing plenty of lightning damage on this build currently because I changed it a little bit. Also, now I have Lightning Arrow instead of Storm Rain on there. Now, there's a reason for that. Now, here's the crazy part, though. The best part of all this. For the vast majority of builds, they would have to put this 0 DPS support gem, which shares shocks and chills. So if you shock something, you also chill it at a similar threshold. Like a 30% shock is 30% chill. A 50% shock is 30% chill. 30% chill equals a 30% shock. Like that. That's how that works. It has like increased duration and effective. Basically, that's how it works. And so this does work, actually. I tested this. When you shock yourself, you also chill yourself. And so you can reverse it with the ring without requiring either that extra ring slot dedicated to that tech or all the headaches that come with it, like being able to survive the Forbidden Rite, being able to survive the poisons. It does, however, cost you the belt slot, but at league start, the belt slot is trash. Like, belts suck at league start really bad. So any belt, this belt is perfectly serviceable. If you're getting all those buffs, 60% damage, 1 to 40 flat light, and 15% movement speed, that's almost categorically a good belt, I would say, in the grand scheme of things. Unless you needed it for defenses, obviously. Now, the best part of all of this, the vast majority of builds, they have to put this gem in the main link. to get it to work. But not a bow build because Mana Forge arrows, baby. Mana Forge arrows means you keep the integrity of your entire DPS 6 link while getting the full power of reverse chill without even needing to sacrifice a ring on top of it, and getting a huge DPS belt on top of it. And if you're wondering about how to deal with the chill, at first I was going to use Impulsa, but it's actually not necessary. You can get slight workarounds here. Soul of Garakan, 60% reduced effective shock on you. Reduced effective shock on you, Jewel is fine. Reduced effective shock on you, Tattoo works. You actually need about 120% reduced effective shock because the gem bakes in an extra 24 or so. Like, well, it depends on what level it is. You actually need a little bit more than 100% to make the shock basically nothing on yourself. But yeah, you can just go reduce effect because you can't avoid shock. Like, we can't run purity of elements or anything like that, not with this setup. So we're dealing with shock, self-shock with reduced effect. We're dealing with freeze by immunity with Brine King. We're getting the value of chill, being chilled. And Ignite is just out in the open. Okay, Ignite, you're still gonna deal with Ignites, but you're a bow build, so I mean, what are you getting ignited for? Like, you shouldn't be getting ignited really on a bow build. This does bring a little bit of concern for like burning ground maps. So you might want to like avoid that mod. You would actually probably regex that mod out and maybe not run Searing Altars. You run Eater Altars, perhaps. But yeah. So we're talking full. So this is basically full uptime chill, reverse chill, full uptime adrenaline. This is not even. This is unprecedented. Like, we don't even think of, like, normally on a League Start POB, you're not checking this because this isn't real on a Pinnacle fight, but it is actually real on a Pinnacle fight if you have double writhing jars with a ton of flash charge recovery. So that's actually a real thing. Having adrenaline up for an entire fight, having full reverse chill for an entire fight. Look at what this is. This is 32 million all the way down to 25 million if I remove it. That's how much damage that's giving. The adrenaline and reverse chill together equals about 50% more DPS for the build. Of course, adrenaline is a tank buff too. Actually gives you some survivability. If I go in here and I take off this is the highest max fizz hit I've seen in ages. My League Starter clocks in at 4K max fizz hit normally. I got 3,500 life. I usually start this build with like 3,100 at best. Why is that? Well, that's primarily because of having an extra ring. I mean, I did kind of lose Winterweave, but Winterweave is giving some defense. But just having an extra ring, it kind of didn't really dawn on me until I put the build together. Oh, having an extra ring actually means you have extra stats, you know? It's not just like unlocking some special tech or something. So it was actually a lot easier to flesh out the build and, you know, cover its bases on things like, you know, chaos res and stuff, all the resistance. And now I'm able to get all res without needing a Bismuth flask to hold it there, right? While also wearing, like, you know, Death Rush and the Taming Ring. I like the Taming Ring. This allowed me to put Hiri's Ire in even, which is just crazy. I was able to put Hiri's Ire in. Oh, I forgot the other reason why I was able to flesh out the build. Also, another huge enabler was, so I bit the bullet and dropped the full conversion. So part of the reason I did like full conversion, Ice Shot, Fizz to Cold conversion, it kind of makes sense for like a League Start situation with that, because mainly because once you get like an Inspired Learning or especially a Headhunter, you're just good to go. You're getting maximum value out of that. But Inspired Learning's been super expensive the last few leagues, and you know, unless you're doing Legion farming specifically, it's not really doing that much actually. And so I made it easier to gear up because it opened my glove slot for another, at least another mod, an extra implicit on like spell suppress, for example. So I was able to get some stats back on the gloves. And then I was able to actually get an even higher DPS bow. With this setup, I needed a crit because I wasn't crit capped without getting crit roll. The previous version of the build didn't actually have a crit roll on the bow. So it was like over prioritizing crit on the passive tree to kind of make up for it. This makes it a lot easier because I put a stipulation on myself that like every single rare that I make for League Starter is basically 2 genuine modifiers with a essence mod and a bench craft, because I feel like that's never not easy to craft. Like you can always craft something this easy, or better than this, even on like day 1. Like it's pretty easy to craft something like that. Also, because we did this, I was pigeonholed to go on Ahuana's Bite due to the Heat Shiver tech and then like the full conversion on that to cold. In order to do enough fire damage to proc Trinity, I couldn't run a regular quiver. Even if I ran it with like flat fire, it still wasn't as good because, and the reason this is because Bone Chill gives you, which you always want to use if you're using a cold dominant build. Bone Chill was giving me a whole bunch of extra cold damage without fire damage, and it was cucking Trinity effectively. So with Ahuana's Bite, you don't use Bone Chill because it doesn't, like, it overrides for all forms of damage, including fire. But with unlocking so much lightning damage, especially going lightning on the quiver, which is almost as good as cold, and then lightning and cold on the bow, the damage spread is a lot nicer. Here with 13 to 215,000, 143 to 250. So this is going to proc Trinity all day long. It is some of a damage loss to prioritize light this way, but I care a lot more. We do this for 2 reasons. One, it kind of makes it easier to make the build in the beginning when you're not dealing with conversions right off the bat. And it is necessary because I actually need to self-shock myself. aka self-chill. I need to shock and chill myself hard enough to get the 30% chill. One of the byproducts of this is I'll actually get an instant shock out. So even like after the first hit, a real shock goes out onto the enemies. And you can see on Pinnacle Boss it's 19%. That's going to be higher, by the way. Actually, that's right. I can't run increase effect here, but with a shock, a lightning damage spread like this, Path of Building doesn't do a very good job representing the real shock values because it's just averaging the difference between 13,000 and 215,000. So the real number is almost double this. What you see here on the 19, it's almost double. It's probably like 34 or 35 or something. And a 34 or 35% shock is enough to 30% chill myself. Because, 30 shock equals 30 chill with that special gem. But it doesn't apply to this attack because I'm not putting the gem in the main link. I'm putting it in the Mana Forge link. So over here, I can't test this yet for one reason. Because Coursing Current doesn't exist on Standard. I have this entire character exactly like this built in Standard right now, missing the Coursing Current gem. The only thing I need to test on this is that Lightning Arrow is actually shocking for at least 30% on a Pinnacle fight. I don't know if it is. According to this here, it says Pinnacle shock values of 20%. Usually it's going to be almost double of what it says because of this. This should be. Oh yeah, it's going to be more than that too because I actually dropped Hydrosphere and took Elemental Mastery reverses. So, I virtually guarantee it's going to be. Especially periodically off of the inverted resistances. Because when your shot inverts resistance, you get like a massive shock off of that. It should be even more likely with all those arrows going out. Okay, so like if I have this mastery and I'm firing at 6.2 attacks per second with my primary skill, which is a ridiculous number at League Start for a bow build. 6.2 is so much higher than any Deadeye. Because I basically got a double empowered Tailwind on top of massive tinctures and adrenaline full time. That's ridiculous. That's like 60 or 70% more attack speed than your typical Deadeye League starter. Just for reference there. And yeah, if we go back in here, if I check Ice Shot of penetration, again, it's shocking for 19. The real number is virtually double, but that doesn't even factor in this. So when you factor in the inverted res, the real number being almost double what this is, it's gonna push up into around 50%. Probably high 40s, mid to high 40s is likely. Lightning Arrow also will be somewhat competitive with that because they both register at 19%. So I mean, either Ice Shot or Lightning Arrow. Probably the Ice Shot inverted elemental hits will be the dominant factor here into what the real shock number will be. Probably. But, you know, either Lightning Arrow. The point is, Lightning Arrow should consistently shock for at least 30% to give me the 30% chill. Ice Shot should consistently shock for at least like 45 or 50%. And I just need to actually do some test runs to see what that number really is. So it's saying Lightning Arrow is 20% and Ice Shot is 19%. Like, I'm 99% sure that will result in a 30% chill, reverse chill. And a bare minimum of a 40% shock on a boss. All right, so the other thing that I need to check, actually the real thing that the only thing that I'm actually concerned about is the tornado proc rate, because it's been a very long time since I've not used Storm Rain or Storm Rain of the Conduit. I use that because it's extraordinarily consistent at proccing and reproccing a tornado. You need to proc a tornado within 20 hits that it receives. It receives a lot of hits, especially with a split arrow setup. I wager roughly 6 outbound arrows is going to result in, you know, between the arrows there and back, it's going to roughly, because it's got return arrows, 6 or 7 arrows, probably 6 to 8 arrows is the window of time it takes to max out the tornado for it to kick into phase 2. Phase 2 is not what we want. Phase 2 is bad because phase 2 is just some bullshit like random little bit of damage. It's turned off the adjacent arrow procs. You know, I'm talking about the arrows that like double overlap AoE and hit the boss twice that's sitting next to it. So the way this kind of build works is you spawn a tornado like every half second, basically, with the Storm Rain. And it looks kind of goofy, like in the actual gameplay, it looks kind of goofy. It's just like you're seeing a tornado just constantly spawn and respawn. But if you watch the game mechanics, you can see it triggering off tornado constantly. And it does a good job actually reading off of that hit. And that's why bow builds these days are set up this way with Cast on Crit Tornado actually do a ton of damage single target. Ice Shot at penetration more than any other bow skill, I wager. So the question is, can Lightning Arrow, again, one Lightning Arrow shot, automatically targets the right target, okay, single target, it's gonna hit the boss. Will it go out often enough, hit often enough, proc the tornado often enough for it to work? Now, the good news is that I'm not running some 68 mana unreserved or whatever, because that can get in the way of the tornado spawning reliably. Currently sitting at 9, this is really high technical information here. So there's some wiggle room on how much mana you need to run these things. Previously, probably the worst setup I've ever had as far as this is concerned is like an unreserved mana pool of about 74 mana with a skill and 3 spell procs off of it. Sniper's Mark, Tornado, and Hydrosphere, for example. Okay, no life tap, no power charge on crit. Like, you know, that's a lot of spells having to go out. And usually to get that consistently spawned, right, without, you know, your mana cutting off constantly, you need closer to like 100 unreserved mana. After playing bows for years and years and years and years, I can say with pretty high confidence that you need at least 70 mana to get that sort of tech to even begin working properly. You need at least 80 mana to get it to work fairly consistently. You need at least 90 mana to get it to work very consistently. And you need at least 100 mana unreserved to make it work like flawlessly, basically. That's kind of the thresholds that you have to work with. So you have some wiggle room, but you're paying a little bit of a price when you drive it down to like 80 or sub 80 or sub 70 mana especially. Now that's with 3 spell gem procs. This only has 2. I dropped Hydrosphere. Now Hydrosphere provided an extra double overlap on the boss too, but it can only take a hit once every second. So it would only take at most 1 out of 6 hits anyway. And that's not even true because it would also soak in returning hits, which would hit for less. So it's actually only, value-wise, it would only receive the adjacent AoE hit of like 1 out of every 9 arrows or something like that. So it's not that impactful. So I don't feel bad about losing Hydrosphere, and I don't even feel bad about losing it on its face with like the exposure and stuff, because I always kind of wanted to take the Elemental Mastery and was kind of strong-armed into not taking it because I'm running an exposure setup, which is totally fine if I'm running Oath of Summer. Then it's really good. So you want the exposure on top of Scorch, double Scorch. But if you're not doing Scorch, then you don't really want just exposure, and you're not doing Elemental Weakness, and you don't want exposure in there really messing up the inverted res, if anything. So I like it now that, you know, we're clean. I'm back to like clean, no exposures on the boss or nothing, just good old pure 15% chance to invert the enemy's resistances. Now, Coursing Current does raise the cost of the skills a little bit. It's just a little bit of cause for concern, from 17 to 22 on Lightning Arrow, from 18 to 23 on Tornado, and oh yeah, oh right, I remember it saying, yeah. So Coursing Current does not raise the cost of Sniper's Mark, which is the only one that actually needs to have a high cost, because Sniper's Mark level actually matters a lot. Lightning Arrows matter, or Storm Rain's level doesn't matter really, but Lightning Arrow does, because I actually care about the shock value on it. So I have to run at high level Lightning Arrow, but I still don't need to run a high level Tornado. That doesn't matter for all the tech involved. So you can see we got a combined cost of 38 mana, 23 mana, and 22 mana. If your total combined cost is less than your unreserved mana, you're pretty good. You're pretty good on that, because even when your total combined cost is higher than the total mana you have, it can still, like, it has like a layered proc system on it. It doesn't proc everything all at once. It shuffles through them, actually, is what it does, but on a really, really, really low cooldown, the Cast on Crit Gem. So generally speaking, you know, with some mana on hit like this, an instant leech, you're pretty good to go. This version of the build actually has more mana on hit, by the way. Most versions that I play only has 2 mana on hit. This one has 2 plus 2. Normally I don't have these 2 here because I'm running leech down here, but I do have more leech. However, this version, ta-da, extra 4 mana on hit. Now I always take Primal Spirit but never get value off of it, because it says gain 4 mana per hit with attacks if you've used a mana flask in the last 10 seconds. And guess what? We're using a mana flask frequently because that's what a hybrid flask is. So actually unlock the back end tech on Primal Spirit and Heart of the Oak for the regens and the extra mana on hit, which is something we normally never get. So it's actually 3 things we get for running the hybrid flask: the extra 15% tincture effect, 2% life regen, and 4 mana on hit. Normally, I don't get any of that on this build, or any build I've done. It's just even more motivation to run a setup this way. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. Here's a big revelation: the jewels. I finally convinced myself to run Lionized Fall. It only took like 7 years, guys. Ever since I saw this jewel, I always thought it was kind of trash and just huge bait. But I looked at a lot of various setups, and yeah, I just kept coming back to it and realizing, you know what, the numbers line up pretty well. The crit amounts line up pretty good. I mean, you can see right here, the last King of the Hill node here is topping me off from 98 to 100%. Crit chance, clean, not relying on inspired learning. That is with the flask active or the tincture active, of course, but it's up 100% of the time. So that should be fine. Also, not skimping on the accuracy either. Running about 2 or 3% over cap on accuracy. I liked how I conveniently took Weathered Hunter because Blood-Soaked Blade down here. Big breakthrough was realizing that I could cut corners on a build. Literally every bow build I've ever played connects down here and does a whole bunch of things down here, right? This build uniquely doesn't need to do that. We need to get the Frenzy Charge somewhere, although we could get it here on the Quiver if we wanted. And sometimes I get the Frenzy Charge down here with Cull and the Mastery here. But if I'm actually going north, which I don't normally go, but is kind of popular on bow build, I can get the Mastery here. And this wheel is just about as strong as this one is anyway, except you're missing Cull. To me, the real driving factor for Lionized Fall as to whether or not you should use it is whether or not you can take full advantage of Cull Mastery here. Critical Strikes have Cull, and like literally every other version of the bow build, the best amulet in the game is Hiri's what's it called? I don't know, the amulet with Hiri, the level 30 precision, like 50 crit multi, and bow critical strikes Cull. So normally I get no value out of this, and a big reason why I never go Lionized Fall, because I automatically have that amulet on, and that is like the best bow amulet league starter in the game, like not even close. It's the best. Unless you literally can't use it because you're using Eye Shot of Penetration and therefore have to use Fury Valve. Suddenly, that opens up the possibility of getting maximum value out of this Mastery here. And so between the crit chance capping out off of this conveniently as opposed to going down here, because normally I would go down here and I would really want lethality wheel, right? But as you can see, I'm actually anointing it, which was a huge twist to me. I actually went on in here and checked the anoint and I didn't even realize this. It didn't even dawn on me at all. I had this set here. And I went in here, I was like, okay, let's see which one is the best. And then it just popped up right at the top. I was like, well, yeah, I guess that would be the best one. It's only like by far the strongest bow crit damage. One of the, look how much better this is than everything else. I mean, this does assume that I have 100% crit chance, I guess. Yeah, so I'm not actually getting value out of that crit in this example, but what's it called? Oh yeah, lethality. that's okay. It's okay to be a little over capped on crit. The reason it's okay is because you're not automatically going to have, you know, instant max power charges without a power charge of 90%. So with 1, we got 94, 2 is 98, then 3 is 100, and I probably... Did I take that extra power charge? Yeah, I might be able to get away with dropping this, actually, with this setup. I could probably drop this, now that I think about it. So I might consider dropping that, putting a point somewhere else. I hadn't caught that yet, but... yeah. Yeah, so anyway, very strange to not go down here for a variety of reasons I didn't need to. Here's another reason. So just to review, I don't need Cull because I'm getting it up here. So this Marked for Death is useless. I don't need the Frenzy Charge Mastery here because I can just get it up here on this Mastery wheel. I don't need to get Lethality because unlike the vast majority of other setups, I don't have to anoint my amulet. With Sovereignty, I actually have an open anoint, which means I can take the highest DPS anoint that I need to. In which case I'm getting lethality, otherwise I feel bad. Definitely feel FOMO about not taking this and being this close to it, right? And so I can just grab it like that. I don't need any special like chance to freeze, shock, or ignite to grab Primeval Force. I actively don't really want Thick Skin Wheel, which is something I would normally take, and that's because I don't want to necessarily avoid elemental ailments. I don't want to avoid reverse chill. If you take this whole wheel, that means only 80% of shocks that you dish out through the lightning arrow are going to come back and reverse chill you. In fact, it might even double dip in a bad way. Actually, I don't know if it double dips, so it could, like, you know, if you don't reverse, like, it's like an 80% chance to reverse shock and then it has to roll again for 80% chance to reverse chill. I don't know if that's the case or not, but assuming that it is, that would be bad. I also don't need phasing here because the Warden going Tincture is going to path this way. Normally most bow builds get their phasing wheel right here, but we actually get it right here. And this is because you're always going to take Tincture effect. I don't need the extra accuracy also because I'm over here, and however else the build is set up, sometimes I take advantage of accuracy on Farsight. Don't need it. Don't need the extra crit of Dazzling Strikes or Cornered Prey, the bleed and blind wheels sometimes. Deadeyes almost always have to take that, and that's because without our tinctures, we have only 57% chance to crit. But thanks to tinctures, we can give up a ton of crit somewhere on the tree, and it's just conveniently, it's kind of all south here. I don't need to take Beef or Wisdom the Glade. A lot of bow setups require like 3 or 4 of these 30 attribute setups. Don't need to take that. Don't need to take Graceful Assault. Sometimes I actually set up a build so that it's the only source of onslaught, but actually these days usually I just benchcraft this on here anyway, so I don't need to do that. Don't need to take Leader of the Pack. Sometimes I set up things so that I have like an extra or something in there, so I have to take Leader of the Pack plus this Reservation Mastery plus Charisma, and I have to get all that stuff, you know, just to have all the auras. It makes it really tight on a League starter, and I kind of stopped doing that over time. More and more these days, I actually don't take. I save a lot of passives by doing that. You don't need to go the leech points over here, which I usually do if you go up here, but granted, a lot of people go up here anyway. Don't need Point Blank because I'm not playing Tornado Shot or some other version of a build that would normally need to take Point Blank, so we don't need Path down there either. Don't need Long Shot because we're not playing a Deadeye. I need to double down on Long Shot to get along, you know, with Far Shot and all that stuff. So there's a ton of value down here that you normally you're going to almost guaranteed want a couple of the things that are down here, but somehow miraculously this build can actually get away with not getting anything down here. So that gave me so much breathing room to put points elsewhere, and that's where I was able to fit all those points in Lionized Fall. Between that, oh yeah, and well, one of the challenges with Warden is going Tincture Tech. This is 4, 7. Actually, with that, it's even more. And this, it's an extra, I guess, 5. Extra 12 passive points have to be devoted to tinctures because you're not going to not take advantage of them. Like, they give too much power. And so right off the bat, if you're playing Warden and you're playing a tincture, you are sacrificing about 12 passive points. on a league starter. That's a huge deal to lose that much. So you have to make it up somewhere right off the bat. And so not going down here was big. Not getting the other reservation stuff was big. And yeah, I mean, if you told me, hey, Snoo, you're going to make a league starter with a warden, with all the tinctures, and you're going to put Lionized Fall in there and take all the points up there, I'd be like, fuck that. I can't possibly. I don't have anywhere near enough points to get away with that. But I mean, somehow, I almost just can't believe that I somehow got away with this. This tree. And that everything just lined up. The accuracy, the crit, you know, the damage, the ailments, the life. I actually have 3,500 life somehow. I don't even know how I have 3,500 life. Mainly because of this ring. Without that ring, it's 3,300. Sometimes on bow builds, I go up this way, but like I didn't need to do that. So yeah, had to give points to tinctures, had to give points to Lionized Fall. Removed a ton of points in the bottom, removed a bunch of points on mana reservation. So what auras am I running anyway? Ah, right. So I'm not running Purity of Elements. Literally every other, I mean, not literally, but okay, so every Elemental Hill Spectrum build I run Purity of Elements. Every other Eyeshot of Pen build I run Hatred. Now, the reason you run Hatred is because, you know, if you're doing the conversion, you're getting the full power of physical damage, so you get all that gain as extra cold, so you run Hatred. Well, I already talked about how convenient it is to not actually have to get conversion on the gloves, to not actually have to get like physical cold hybrid rolls on the bow, and how much leeway that gives you. And to not actually have to set up things up perfectly with Ahu on his, and then have to use Ahu on his bite to not brick Trinity, then suddenly it opens up the quiver. Oh yeah, there's the other life roll. Right, okay. So if I remove the quiver and the ring, I'm back down to 3,000 life. Okay, this is the normal life pool that I have on bow build. Because I only have 2 rings. And I don't have life on a quiver. At league start normally, not initially. Well, suddenly now we do. 3,500. Normally for these builds, I run Herald of Ice, Val Haste, and either Purity of Elements if it's Elemental Hill Spectrum, or Hatred if it's Eyeshot of Pen. As you can see, the second 50% ore is missing, replaced by Flesh and Stone, and I decided actually from now on I'm just gonna drop Herald of Ice for Flesh and Stone even at League Start. Now Herald of Ice, initially at League Start, basically its value starts at a high point and then it like goes down over time as your build gets stronger, because the flat cold here means less and less over time, and then the like AoE explosion from on a build like this, especially with like a huge AoE baked into Eyeshot Pen, it doesn't matter that much anyway. It's a little more, it's more flashy than anything. So I just dropped it. Otherwise, I mean, I would drop it, but actually I just have an extra 50% room here. So I mean, I could have put like aspect of the, I don't know, maybe the new one, aspect of Lunaris or aspect of the crab or something in here. I guess I could have done, but anyway, I threw it back in here. It is some damage. Okay, it goes from 30 to 32 million because it is League Start setup, so it's somewhat meaningful. We actually have Flesh and Stone in here. So if you want to see the 4K max fizz hit that we normally have, we turn off Flesh and Stone, we remove the quiver and the ring, and then voila, 4.3K max fizz hit. And that is normally what I'm working with. So just those 3 things, I mean, 50% more max fizz hit. I know I'm kind of keep going on about this, but no, really, like, I'm getting away with murder on this League Start setup. I don't even, I'm still baffled by how much speed. 6.2 attacks per second. How much movement speed I have without a Quicksilver Flask. Still 164. I'm halfway compelled to tick Onslaught on. The problem is you only have a 12% chance on kill. So, you know, you're killing those, you're breaking open the Writhing Jars, you're killing the worms frequently, but you're not realistically going to have Onslaught up like 100% of the time on that because it's only a 12% chance. But you would frequently have Onslaught on. In maps, you would definitely have it on. And so we still have 191% movement speed in maps. That's pretty good in maps. And then, I mean, this kind of damage number is just bonkers. I can't wait to test it. I actually really want to test it. I'll do it on, you know, do a Searing Exarch kill. I bet she dies in under 10 seconds. Normally, you get a kill on him in about, on a setup like this, usually cap out around 13 or 14 seconds to get a kill. If everything, like if I'm able to just like straight shoot him to death, basically. But bet you it'll go under 10, unless the DR is more of a factor than I expect. So anyway, that's the story. That's where we're at. That's all the changes. The TLDR, we're combining full reverse chill tech through the new tech of coursing current support, which allows you to reverse shock yourself and reverse chill yourself through shocks, thereby removing the need for those painful other rings that you normally have to use and tech that you have to do to reverse chill, making it very painless to do that. Combining reverse chill, which is set up in a Manaforge arrow link, not even a primary link, with Adrenaline through Death Rush, actually getting it up full time with double Writhing Jar setup, because we're dropping all our utility flasks for the +1 ring slot, getting extra survivability and fleshing out the build further. Removing the cold conversion, opening up the quiver slot, opening up ease to craft the bow and the gloves, making Trinity more reliable than ever, which is a huge point of contention on this league start. A lot of people reported having issues with Trinity, which makes sense. It was very tight on Trinity before. Now it's broken wide open. Trinity will be very easy to get. And, oh yeah, almost forgot. I still have the Ensnaring Arrow, Power Charge, Bone Chill set up here. Okay, this is really good with Split Arrow. Then it's actually a ton of damage. Extra and very reliable. The other link I was using was a workaround for no shock. It was Manaforge, Lightning Arrow, Overcharge support, and Innervate. Now, Innervate was pretty reliable in maps, but that was the only way I was shocking. And, you know, like a Manaforge Lightning Arrow setup, that's not guaranteed going out, like that's not going out as fast as your primary skill, right? And so it's nice that the primary skill itself is actually shocking for real, at least like over, you know, half of a full shock there. And then also the Lightning Arrow, what would sometimes happen, I mean, sometimes it would get its overcharge, you know, shock max roll range, and it would hit really hard sometimes. To be fair, half of it was converted, so the low end roll wasn't like super low. But sometimes it would shock for kind of like, you know, not actually shock that hard, and you would go like halfway through a fight or so before you would actually see the real like 50% shock on. That would happen sometimes. A little bit annoying. And so that is now gone. Replaced with a guard skill that I haven't had in for a while. So it's nice to actually have the room to put a guard skill back in. Either Steel Skin or Immortal Call. And on top of that, I actually got one of my favorite 4 links here is the guard skill and Flame Dash protected by life taps. So if you have experience playing a build like this, one thing you might notice is that especially when the guard skill itself, not Steel Skin, by the way, just a level 4 Immortal Call, with cast and damage taken, I guess, cost freaking 4, sorry, not that, 60 mana. This thing I hate about it, I freaking hate this. These guard skills cost so much. 60 mana on cast and damage taken. 60 freaking mana. But now it's only 180 life. Which is like a drop in the bucket. This is actually a lie. The thing's registering Flame Dash connected to cast and damage taken when it's not. It's actually too low level. Or Flame Dash is too high, right? Requires level 54. Requires 40. Yeah, I don't know why. This is a error on Path of Building. But anyway. Yeah, that costs 57 mana. And without that, okay. See, here's another thing. Normally, I'm stuck having to run a level 1 Flame Dash because I'm basically praying that I have the mana for it, okay? Then the lowest cost of Flame Dash is usually 8 mana. Now, normally, if I need a Flame Dash in any emergency situation, I have 8 mana, but occasionally you don't. And it's like, you're dead, right? If, you know, your Flame Dash didn't go off when it's supposed to because you magically only had 5 mana in the instant when you hit it, because you were triggering like a bunch of mana forge arrows and stuff everywhere. So it's really, really nice when you actually put Flame Dash on life tap, because it will always, 100% of the time, go off, unless you're dead, obviously. You somehow don't have 24 life. Okay, but yeah, generally, you're going to have over 24 life, so, sorry, actually more than that. Oh yeah, here's another reason why this is nice. So, level 1 Flame Dash is 15% cooldown recovery. Well, I have enough mana, or enough intelligence, I guess. Can only go up to... Sorry, I guess 16. Huh. Well, now I have 30% cooldown recovery, not 15, 30. And so Flame Dash is actually going to be up a lot more in maps. That is kind of a meaningful difference, going from 15% to 30% cooldown recovery on Flame Dash. That does mean you get to use Flame Dash more in maps, more, and you get in like the flow state. You're actually using it more frequently, going through faster. It is nice to get that too. So really happy I was able to put that whole link back in. That's actually a dramatic improvement, like to the functionality of the build. Truly, in like actual survivability, with getting Immortal Call in there, cast and damage taken, always being able to Flame Dash exactly when you want, and being able to do it more often. That's some real active survivability improvements to the build, even though on paper it won't mean anything. I really, really wish I could go back in time and league start this exactly as it is, because it's like 50% more speed, 50% more damage, and actually 50% more survivability. Crazy enough, because I went from like 4K max physics to 6. It's just 50% more of everything, miraculously. So I guess I'll link this. I think, yeah, I haven't made a video on this yet, but I'm gonna save this for a tech video on tinctures and flasks, and like using, it'll be like a Warden tincture flask recovery tech video, tincture effect, that kind of thing. I didn't even plan to talk about this build at all. But yeah, we did. So that's that. Any questions? Any questions from chat? Delete the mod before GG finds us, yeah. If I pulled this point, where would I put the other one? I always go for like level 94. I mean, I guess I could just consider a level 93 league starter, but Oh, I know. I was contemplating. This would actually be a pretty good place to put it. Winning Harry's Ire. I don't even need the 15% suppress. That's wild. I don't actually need that. I'm already immune to poisons. Could do movement speed. Probably not, though. %, increased evasion. Body armor is not a bad place, actually. Definitely not a bad place. I almost forgot this guy right here. 20% increased bonuses gained from Quiver. This mastery is terrible with Ahuana's Bite, but actually pretty good with this setup because that's increasing. I mean, by the way, this Quiver is trash. Like, it's almost a crime how garbage I made this Quiver for here. But I just always use a stipulation, you know, essence roll, 2 real rolls, 1 bench craft. Quivers is so easy to craft, like 6 modded, or even just buy them. It's missing a prefix and a suffix. It could have like 46 proc speed and 42% increased damage on top of that. It could have literally like 90% increased damage. It's just missing. Two things that make Eye Shot of Penetration really good, which I haven't even mentioned. Juxtapose the fact that on Warden you have to go tinctures. This type of build does not need to get additional arrows. So you're saving arguably 8 or 9 passive points there. And most importantly, you make the build so much easier to gear for on the bow and the quiver. You don't need to get additional arrow on the quiver. You don't need you don't even need or want additional 1 or 2 arrows on the bow. Especially impactful on the bow craft. How much easier that makes it. So, I mean, a triple elemental spine bow that doesn't even want additional arrows. I mean, that's a cakewalk, you know, as far as like getting one of those. I mean, just get like triple tier 3, you know, or like essence double tier 3, hit attack speed or crit on it and bench the other one. I mean, that's just so easy to do that. You probably hit that in less than 100 essences on average. Pretty crazy build. I think so. As you can see, I've gone mad scientist on this build for several times over on several leagues. This has really been like a progressive improvement to the build. This past league I made some small improvements, but what I've done in the last week has been a massive improvement to this. I was just so I've always been in like a mental block that like literally every bow build, league starter especially, 100% must have a Quicksilver Flask, a functioning Quicksilver Flask. Because, and especially on a Warden, because like, you know, a Warden is slower than a Deadeye, right? Like by default. So the notion of not running a Quicksilver Flask on a Warden bow build is just a crime of thought, criminal thought. And so it took me a very long time to just even remotely consider the possibility of not running a Quicksilver Flask on a build like this. And if I had not had that mental block on myself, I would have seen this sooner. But, you know, I didn't see it for several leagues now. Didn't realize what I was looking at. The stupid thing is, I knew this tech all existed in the back of my head. I knew this existed. I knew that there was a combination. People talked about this in chat before. Hey, Snoo, what do you think about Warden with the, you know, the new +1 ring? Don't use utility flask. You're already using 2 tinctures. You only got 3 flask slots anyway. Like people have been talking about this for a while. It's not like some revolutionary breakthrough tech or something on its face. Ironically, there's like nobody's playing Warden though. Nobody's even using this tech, so people don't even see it. Felt bummed I didn't play this league. Hopefully it survives 3.3. I hope so. What would you take to get going T16 though? What you explained seems really hard to get going, but I know nothing of bow builds. Well, this build is now set up. If I really wanted to take this build seriously as a league starter build, I would need to go back to the drawing board and like re-level it. There is a way to level with this gem. Maybe you level with like regular ice shot and then get the transfigured gem or something. It's kind of confusing right now though. You start with Galvanic Arrow in Act 1, then at the end of Act 1 you get Rain of Arrows, and then at some point around Act 6 or back half of the campaign you get Elemental Hit of the Spectrum, and you actually do prioritize additional arrows on the tree for a split second. And then you switch over to Ice Shot of Penetration when you get the physical bow conversion done, but now you don't need to do that, so you can do it earlier because I've just made it easier to get. So I would need to go back through here and actually like plot out like, you know, what you would do. TLDR is you can start using Ice Shot of Penetration much earlier. The only absolutely mandatory piece is Fury Valve. Now the problem with this is Fury Valve is actually very expensive in the first 12 hours of the league. Because anybody league starting, Poisonous Concoction of Bouncing must get this. Like, it's even more mandatory for them. Well, they'll just use the regular gem. Actually, Poisonous Concoction regular is fine. So Fury Valve is like, it's like a tier 3 unique or something that nobody wants except for people in the first 12 hours of the league. So it starts off being like a 2 or 3 divine unique in the first like 6 hours of the league. And then by like hour 12, it's like 1 divine. And then by hour 18, it's like half a divine. And then by hour 24, it's like 20 chaos. And then it's basically trash after that. That's what happens to this unique every time. So if you league start and hit the ground running, you can't get this unless you get like 2 lucky divine drops in the campaign or something. You're not going to get this until later on, like red maps. So you can't necessarily start with Ice Shot of Penetration Fury Valve. Regular Ice Shot is not the greatest skill gem. It's way different than Ice Shot of Pen as far as like how the AoE and everything works. It looks almost the same, but it actually performs far lower. Both in terms of raw damage, in terms of AoE overlaps. It's got some problems. So, I mean, like Lightning Arrow's better than it. Elemental Hit of the Spectrum's better than it. Those builds call for additional arrows. If you weren't wearing Fury Valve, you'd have additional arrows. Peacock Pathfinder is the best early Uber boss farmer. Oh, yeah. Yep. I've kind of wanted to look into that build for myself. Alright guys, it's getting a little late for me. I gotta work tomorrow. I kind of talked about this a little bit at the start of the stream. I'm on a bit of a vacation. It just kind of felt like I needed some time off. Hung out with some friends more and spent a little bit less time playing. Most of the time that I've spent playing has actually been right here on not right here what you see, but in Path of Building. And I don't know, it's just been really enthralling, like having these breakthroughs on Ice Shot of Penetration. And then I got another build that I'm not even going to show you yet because I don't want to fuck up the market for myself before I buy everything I want on it, because it's got some pretty niche items. So you'll have to forgive me for that. But when I have it ready, we'll show it. It is static. God, I cannot remember the name of that skill, dude. What is it called? Static Strike. Static Strike of Gathering Lightning on a Warden with full Barkskin tech, actually. Or full Tincture. I have it both ways. I kind of looked at it both ways. It has something like 70 attacks per second with multi-strike. I mean, it's just absolutely stupid how strong it is. With Frenzy, accuracy, stagger is like 1.1 billion DPS at the very end. With 2 defensive ascendancy points. And, yeah, I'm really looking forward to putting it together. Kind of finally, like, totally finalized the mirror tier version of it. And it is mirror tier. 1 ring is a mirror or more on that build, and the build has 3 rings. Although 1 can be doubled. So it really only has like 2 rings. But yeah, let's call it a day there, and we'll get a raid out to somebody. Whoa, a lot of PoE 2 players. Palstron again, raided a lot of people. You know what? I haven't raided her in a while. I'm gonna raid DS Lily. Have I raided her before? I think I've raided her once, maybe. She's at the top of the list on suggested, so I'm gonna raid DS Lily today. I don't normally watch her streams, but I do watch her YouTube videos sometimes. They're entertaining, not gonna lie. And she and I have history. We had beef once in PoE 2 about WASD. You guys might remember. Some react. I don't know if you guys remember that. It's kind of funny. But yeah, the path of building is not up to date. We check Twitch right here. I will update it. I'll update it after this, after you send the raid through. But the raid is going through now, so enjoy. Lily, if you're on Twitch, if you're on YouTube, we'll see you in a couple days. Hopefully.